Hi, it's Cindy Fodor here with our January edition of our Creative Stamping Collective, featuring our Endless Love Bundle, which just came out in our January through April mini catalog. So I hope that you enjoy our projects this month. And let's get started. So this is the bundle, the stamp set and dies, just in case. And then I'm using this embossing folder as well that goes with it. So this is the card that I'm going to show you today. I have a bunch of little tips and tricks for you. And let's get started. So the colors in the paper, I think there's Poppy Parade, Real Red, Flirty Flamingo, which we're using today. Also, there's some Bubble Bath, but we're not using any paper that really has that in our color scheme. So we're not using Bubble Bath as a color. We're going to use the Bubble Bath ribbon, but we're going to change it up. So I cut out a bunch of pieces, and it's really fun to just cut out a bunch of stuff and just start playing with it to see where you go. Because after I finished this card, then I took everything that I had left over and started playing with it and came up with 2 other cards. So that was pretty cool. So I just went through the paper first and decided which paper I liked. And I just love the composition of this, the little hearts. I think this color is actually Poppy Parade, but I think you'll see that it will coordinate well with the other colors as well. Oh, Strawberry Slush is another color that's in here. So these are each 2.5 inches wide with a little space in between, which led me to bring in some gray because I wasn't sure what I wanted to stamp with, and decided on basic gray. So let's go ahead and put some pieces in place here. Is going to just get that normal 1/8 inch frame around it. And I know I didn't stamp this yet, and I'm probably going to be really sorry that I didn't stamp it first, but I sort of need to get an idea where I want to stamp, and hopefully that will turn out. I am going to grab some green glue. Did I bring a bottle in here? I haven't used this one in a while, so I'm not sure if this one's going to work. It did. And we're just going to pop that across there. And because it has to go down in that groove a little bit, I might have to press down in it a little bit and just hold that down and hope that I got it straight. Okay. All right, let's do a little bit of stamping. I'm going to just pull out a mat of paper here. I need to stamp this heart, and uh-oh, I forgot to bring my red pad. Let me just grab that real quick. Here we go. I knew I pulled that away to use it for another card, and I knew I was going to forget to put that back on my pile. All right, so to tell you the truth, it's easier when you're trying to line up your photopolymer stamps on something that's not white. Let's try this. I'm gonna have to get my head in here a second, so I don't mind. What I like about this stamp is that when you stamp it, it looks like you die cut it. It gives you that 3D look. So that's pretty cool. While I have this mat here, let's go ahead and stamp the Sending You. I'm going to give you a little tip too that I did with my stamps. Let me just make sure I get this straight here first. So I didn't want to immediately like mess up and stain my ink pad, my photopolymer stamps. So I know some of you already know this, but I did take them and treated them with Versamark pad first, and then went directly into my ink. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one a while, and the other ones that I'm going to use in red ink. You can see that one did stain already a little bit. It's okay. I know that they'll stain. I just don't want them to get so dark that I can't see through them again. Also helps if you wash them right away, which I did not bring a washing pad in here. Okay, let's go ahead and stamp. This little stamp also came with the dies, or yeah, this little die piece came with the dies. And I'm going to stamp the hugs and kisses on this in basic gray. All right, so the stamping is finished. Let me just get rid of this. I'm going to go ahead and make our bow a while so that it dries. So you're going to see that this is Bubble Bath, and we're not using anything that's colored like Bubble Bath. So we're going to just quick color this with our light Real Red pen. And it doesn't take a lot, and I'm being very gentle because I don't want to ruin my end of my pen. But it'll be just enough to almost make it look like strawberry slush, actually. Which, like I said, is one of the colors I think that's in this designer paper. And this goes through enough, I think, that the other side should be fine. Except right here at the beginning where I did it very lightly. And I think that's probably enough. And we'll let that dry for a second while we finish stamping. Let's go ahead and stamp. Oh, I know what else I wanted to do with this. I don't want this to be a white background. As you can see here, it's pink, but I didn't want to stamp it on pink because I felt like that was not going to give me a good red. So I did it on white, and then I just took my Flirty Flamingo and just brought it in and sponged over top of the red. And you can do it first if you're afraid that the red will blend with it. I wasn't too worried because it's going to be pink anyway, so there we go. Now we have a darker color because it's going to go on top of the white, so I don't want it to be white. All right. All right, so we're going to do the inside of the card while we're stamping. So I can get that to lay open there so you can see it, so I can see it. So I pulled out this multiple heart stamp, and we're going to ink that in the Flirty Flamingo and stamp it in the corner here. And then I pulled in the single heart, and I'm going to do that in red, Real Red. And I'm just going to put that right here to the side. And then I want these little dots on here as well, just to add a little bit of interest. And that's the last thing I'm going to stamp. We are going to add the X's and O's there after we put it together. But let's go ahead and put this little guy on. This little heart comes inside of the O, and that gives you an extra little heart. I'm going to just zoom this in a little bit so that it feels like it's really far away. Let's see, where's the zoom? There, how's that? Okay. Let's see, we need take your pick tool, and I want to just make sure that's on the correct side so that I can put my glue on the back side. And then we're going to just pop that right here. There we go. All right, so now we're ready to put everything together. Let me go ahead. I think I stamped everything. Let me go ahead and close these just so I don't make a mess. I'm going to put the embossed piece. This is with that folder that I showed you. I'm going to put that on the inside since we have all of our other design on the outside, but it's too cute not to use. The other nice thing about this is because I'm going to make my white piece a little smaller, maybe if you don't like to write a lot, this gives you just a little bit smaller area to write on. Okay, so we can go ahead and tuck that in there. And then for the X and O, I just wanted to show you how I cut that out. Let me scoot that over here because it comes on the same die. So I just put two pieces together and just put that right in the center. Actually, I did it the other way, but put that right in this, on the line, like tried to line it up on the line and ran that through so that I got a different color of each one. The other way to do it would be just to run each one through twice on two different colors. Okay. All right, let's again put some glue on here. There's two XO dies and there's two XX dies, which I thought was a little weird. I don't know. Maybe you guys can, maybe somebody will fill me in on that, because I'm thinking X's and O's, you know, like maybe a double X stamp and a double O stamp. I'm not sure why there's two double X but not two double O's. Who knows? All right, I'm not sure if I put that the same way, but there we go. We got our XO on there. All right, and because I'm gluing it onto this bumpy embossed piece, I'm pressing a little harder just to make sure that it stays in place. All right, so our inside's finished. Let's finish the outside. And I seem to have lost my other heart. That's interesting. Okay, Cindy, is it on here? It's not on there. Huh. Well, I probably dropped it on the floor. Let me check. Well, usually I'll say through the magic of television when something magically is done for you before while I didn't show it to you, but I had to go do another one because it totally disappeared. I have no idea. I'm sure I'll find it, but I didn't look to see if it was sticking on my arms. There was no glue on it, so the mystery. Okay, so we're going to glue this all together. This one I'm going to just glue flat on the card. And then this one I want to layer, and this is the same heart, and it's a little bit smaller than this cutout heart. So you have to sort of determine where you want to stick that together. I'm going to put some glue here on the larger parts and maybe a little bit here. And then we'll stick that so that I want to make sure this area is filled in down here with color. And again, that's going to take a few seconds just to set up. So we'll turn that over. I'm going to put some dimensionals on there. And did I bring any in with me? No. So we'll use some pieces here. Finish up some of those. Let's use one of these mini ones and just use an edge of that one. Being very frugal. All right, now we're ready to pop this one in place. Put that about there. Now I did cut this little arrow, and I'm going to put a dimensional. I'll use one of the mini ones on that because it's going to go up over top of this other piece. And I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on the tip of that so it sticks to that other heart. Like so. Again, you might have to hold that in place for a little bit. All right, and then we've got our hugs and kisses, and that is going to be on some dimensionals as well. We'll do 3 little ones here. I don't know, I always find like these little ones are a little bit harder to peel off on camera. And then that's going to just tuck in here and come across there. And then we're going to get our bow, which should now be dry, or our ribbon, and turn it into a bow. I might wish that I finished coloring that, but I think we'll have enough. All right, so I do want this end of this done. So let me just do that real quick. Just needed a little bit more. Didn't want to waste my ink. Our brushes get dry fast enough, right? Okay, let's get a glue dot here. And we'll just tuck that right. Actually, this is a really big glue dot. Roll that under a little bit and tuck that on there. Now I'm going to get messy. So I pulled out these little loose Valentine assortments, and they are so cute. So I had to use them. And there's, whoa, or spill them. That's okay. I needed some out here anyways. So I'm using the pink, and this is probably a strawberry slush heart. And there's red lips. And there is an envelope with a heart on it. So you do have to make sure that's turned the right way. So I just placed those sort of where I thought I wanted them to be on my card. And then the Take Your Pick tool did all the work. And my, of course, Tombow glue. Let's get some more red lips in here. Okay, and then there was, I think these are Flirty Flamingo, just little circles. And I saw on one of the other, I can't remember whose card it was, it's a shaker card. And these are really shaker elements, but I was not doing a shaker card. So I wanted to include this on the front of my card just as some little accents. So I just need to dig in here a little bit and get those little confetti pieces just because I want to put those in there as well. I need some hearts. Looks like I only have one heart on there. Well, that's a little weird. Let's do, maybe that's all I need. Okay. All right, so then I just picked up with my Take Your Pick tool, and you might want to fluff it up a little bit. Like I made sure that this was good and, you know, sticky so that it would hold till I was able to get this. You don't want a lot of glue because the glue, anything that goes on these are not paper. These are more like a rubbery, plasticky. And so it's going to take a little more time to dry. The reason liquid glue dries really fast on paper is because it is able to go down into the fibers and pull those fibers together to make them adhere. But this is not paper, so it's going to take a little more time for that to adhere to the side of the, and you do have to sort of hold them in place while you pull this away. Get a heart on there. Did I do those lips yet? No. There, see, I didn't push that, and I figured I would do that. I didn't push that on hard enough. Let's see if I got enough glue on there to run it all across the card. Let's get this guy in place because he wants to roll away. And it might be helpful. What I did was I just held it in place for a few seconds. Or you could take, if you have an old pokey tool or the end of your Take Your Pick tool off, and just press that down. That didn't work. Press that down while you pull this away. We'll try that. I was not pushing these on very hard to keep them sticking. So let's try that. You notice how that liked to scoot there a little bit? If you let it do that, you'll end up with shiny stuff all over your card. All right, now, when I was finished, I was like, this still needs something. So I grabbed my Wink of Stella and made sure that it was good and wet. And whoops, that came off of my stick down there. And I put some on these little guys. Now I will tell you, if you do this, You almost need it to go overnight till it dries, because once again, it's not going into fibrous cardstock, it's going in on a smooth surface. So it has to completely dry in order to not dab off when you touch it. So if you put that on there, make sure that you sit this aside and let it sit for a day or, overnight. This would have been better to put on before, and I intended to do that, but I didn't, because I only want it on the arrow and not on the rest of my card. So you have to be a little careful. So a little bit of Winkostella goes a long way, but it really adds some shimmer. I'm hoping that you can see that. Can't quite tell by my video. My lights are a little bit, I dimmed them so that it wasn't glaring on the white, but anyways, so we add a little bit of shimmer to that as well. So here's the inside again, and you could put some Winkostella in there to coordinate with the outside if you'd like. So I hope you like that card. I strayed away from a fun fold this time just because I don't want you to think that it's going to be a fun. There's plenty of other fun folds on this video, on this PDF, so you'll have lots of ideas to inspire you. All right, have a great January and happy Valentine's Day.